All righty, grand, whatever, folks, lesbians, party people, and they mamas. I am here on December 18th, a Thursday, recording, and my room is still kind of a mess, but it's neither here nor there. We're getting better. And I went to my sister's graduation today, and this is going to be posted on Monday, December 22nd. And yeah, we're gonna just get into this. Oh, I may have packed the clockina, to be honest. Here, let me check. I did not pack it. But here we can put like 29 minutes on the clock because we're a minute in. And oh god. That may require some attention, but mayhaps in a minute. And by a minute, I mean like 29 minutes, because it can just remain there. Like, that's a later problem, what just fell. But, yeah, I am going to be talking about changes, is what this episode is called. And I'm really not sure what the vibe of this episode is going to be, and that's kind of nerve-wracking. And yeah, I just wrote something else in my journal, in my podcast notes, that I want to add on to. And like, I typically think about these questions or like look at them before I go through them, but today I don't feel that energy. And I don't have my mic on me just because I want to be a little lazy, to be honest. And I'm not being lazy, I'm just disabled, and I'm being honest about it. And I'm working with the energy that I have, because I'm also going to a winter solstice party after this with Joaquina. So some changes. The move to Houston, move to Austin by myself afterwards. So like I probably will be moving out with roommates, and that's good, right? That gets me cheaper rent, and yeah, then you can have like more space. Typically, is a hope. And I don't know. We'll see what the options are with what we're looking at. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Then we get into the winter is here. So yeah, today's the solstice. Or well, today is not the solstice. Today's the solstice party that I'm going to, and I'm just entering energy with a bunch of very magical, beautiful human beings that I'm so grateful to be around. And thank you, Joaquina, again, for bringing me out to this event, to be around these people. Like, I do feel grateful to meet these people and to be in good energy and to bring good energy, again, we have our holiday cheer or whatnot, and this vest that I am wearing on top of this shirt that I was wearing to my sister's graduation, right? And yeah, I'm not really in the astrology world right now, but I should be. But I've heard that things that happened to you in 2019 will be left behind in this year and will be gone with this year. And I've already felt that, and I'm grateful to be moving forward with that energy because like whatever happened to you in 2019, I'm so sorry, So yeah, the winter is here. We have the solstice, and now we're gonna have like 3 months, the rest of December to January to February to a little bit of March, and then the spring begins. And then we have the spring, right? And that's wonderful. And then the time changes again, just like it did in the fall. And that's just how the world works, right? Day after day, time goes fast and it goes slow. I feel like for a couple of years, and maybe y'all agree with me on this, like those COVID years went by painstakingly slow, I don't know if y'all agree with me on that, but maybe people will look back on this time fondly. Maybe they won't. But the winter is here and we gotta stay warm. These days will be colder. They've already gotten colder because of the fall, but it's about to get even colder, right? And we will get stronger, we'll eat, we will hydrate, and we will take care of each other. So as 2025 comes to an end, I want to talk about 2026. We talked about changes in general. And I haven't I haven't titled any of my podcast episodes changes, which is something that's quite intriguing to me, because I feel like we're always talking about changes in one way or another. Like earlier this year in the summer, we were talking about summer dive, and it's about to be a new year. It's about to be 2026, like I'm going to turn 26 next year personally. I don't know what phase of life y'all are going through, but I was born in 2000, which like I know crazy, these days, especially if you're one of the youngins and you're watching this, you're like, oh my God, you're 25 years old? Yeah, I am. I know, right? It's insane to me too. But yeah, as 2025 comes to an end, 2026 begins. And here I am in the mix of understanding where I am in my life, with the move and with everything in general, with all of these changes, with the way that I've been feeling, right? Because I haven't been feeling so great, and I've been like considering like, where is this energy coming from? Like, why am I feeling this way? And what should I be doing? Like, how can I lighten up my load, and how can I ask for help? And yeah, day after day, I just feel tired, exhausted a little bit, and I don't want that to continue. But I also feel grateful, and I feel like productive, like I'm able to move forward. I feel strong. I feel resilient. I also feel weak at times. I feel emotional. I feel sensitive. I feel like too much. I feel like a burden. I think these are things that people just feel sometimes. I'm grateful to have a podcast. I'm grateful to have somewhere to speak 30 minutes a week. I have this platform for a reason. I bring voices alongside me for a reason. But I also struggle for a reason, and I do my best to ask for help. But you can only ask for help when people have the time. And you go to all these places for help, and then you hear these buzzwords over and over and over again, whether it be like the symptoms that you're experiencing, like misophonia or dyspraxia or, dyscalculia, alexithymia, or you hear the buzzwords of the medicines, all of the medicines that you've ever heard, or like antipsychotics, antidepressants, etc., anxiety meds, and then you talk about all of the different mental illnesses, the diagnoses that they have on the DSM-5 manual, ADHD, even anorexia, right, eating disorders, autism, schizophrenia, etc., bipolar 1, bipolar 2, BPD, borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder. It's very difficult to, as 2026 arrives, to acknowledge my disabilities and to acknowledge that I, again, need therapy, and that I would like maybe some medicine to speed up this process of healing, or this, that, and the other. But you get pushed up against all of these sides of yourself in the world, and you're just existing sometimes. And I don't know about y'all, but again, 2026, right? I'm feeling quite homeless these days, and I don't know, I don't feel very like housed, and that does make me worried, and I need to be financially stable to financially house myself, or to just feel comfortable, if something were to go wrong, like I have something to fall back on, like, if my housing were to fall out, not saying that like my friends or my situation, my community would be a problem. I'm saying like if I, for some reason, was not financially able to pay for it, and I had to move back home, I'm here, like currently in this house, in this space right now. My family is still in College Station, which is kind of why I'm taking advantage of this space and this time, which I feel like I can be a lot louder. And it's funny because my mom just texted me and she said that they just started for Manor. So that means like in an hour and a half, they will be back, and I'm only 9 minutes into this podcast. And I say only 9 minutes, we are a third in, right? So I want to move out. I struggle with the respecting the boundaries of my family. It's not like I struggle with being kind to them, no, but I do feel like we step on each other's toes a lot, and I don't appreciate that. And day by day we change and we grow, and the podcast has changed, and my energy has changed, and I have changed, right? And the way I speak has changed, and I think the way that I look has changed a little bit. I'm growing, we're getting older, we're continuing to live in this world. We're just being who we are. And I live in Texas, you know, and Texas is just going, and you're either there or you're not. And yeah, I'm grateful to be on top of, you know, things that we've talked about these days, like education, cleaning, except it may not look clean, you know, it's not clean, but I've got boxes packed, you know, we're moving to Houston. It's easier to imagine cleaning in Houston and unpacking once the furniture is there. Again, 2026 changes, you know, that's all we're talking about right now, really. I want to continue to work hard. I want to continue to be an artist. My resolutions, you know, mayhaps I should stop drinking soda. Maybe that would help a little bit. But again, I'm strong. Look at my arms. Like, I had like flaps under my arms, not saying that's like a bad thing, but like, you know, my skin, I'm like only growing older. We're not getting any younger. So like, yeah, maybe my skin is rejuvenating now, but I have to take care of myself now. And I am, again, getting older. Like, we're in our mid-20s. I feel like, again, 25-year-olds, they talk so much about being older because it's like, oh my God, like so many things are setting into motion right now. And it's like, you either get on that train or you don't. And some people don't want to lean into it, but I want to lean into it, you know, and leaning into it has only been beneficial. And like, that's what you just have to do with life. You just got to lean into it a little bit. And every year is a different chance to be a different person, because I mean, every day is a different chance to be a different person, right? So now it's 2026, and even when you turn your age, you know, it could be January 1st, it could be December 31st, it could be every day in the middle, you know, you could use every day as an opportunity to celebrate and to be like, this is a day that I deserve to wake up with fresh new baby eyes and change my world around me. I feel like my material reality is changing, but I'm fighting for my needs, you know, like I'm fighting for this housing so I can fight for my space and my boundaries and create to those boundaries and be like, look, I just want to be comfortable. I don't think that's a lot to ask for, and that's not a lot to ask for. And comfortable, you know, it doesn't mean to be in a high tax bracket, because I don't know how to work taxes, but maybe I'll figure that out, right? Because I am a business owner, and what I have done in this world has only been based on business. And you know, I've been an artist for a couple of years now, but like only immersed in the art world, like just been working this. And then even before this, you know, like before I was a vendor, before I was selling art, before I was focusing more so on music, having bands and such, even in like the days before that, you know, when I was working as a piercer, my 24/7 was art. My 24/7 was tattooing. And even before that, at the Van Gogh exhibits, I'm so grateful to have these experiences of like 24/7. My life has been art. But working in a capitalist system, you know, I push up against a lot of walls, and then I end up losing jobs because people misunderstand things that I'm expressing, because I guess English is my second language, or because, you know, the way that I'm expressing something is not the way that is understood. And I know that these gaps exist, and I like just want to express it because it's like, I know, because these things have happened so many times to me. Like, we continue to push and put ourselves out in the world and reflect and ask ourselves, like, what are these experiences? What are we experiencing, you know, and why are we experiencing these things? We have very unique experiences these days. You know, capitalism is such a strange time, and I feel like, you know, everyone in all time has always had very unique experiences, but we also are very much also the same, right? So every day, again, we can be different, but sometimes we're always just the same, and maybe we are exactly where we're meant to be, and I don't really know. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking. That's what a podcast is about, right? We're just talking to each other, and we're getting to know each other, and we're creating history and making a reason to do something. Which gets me back to the point of, as 2025 comes to an end, 2026 just looks like more of what I'm doing, and I'm so grateful for that, you know, more cultivation of art, more cultivation of my family, getting to know them better and helping them get to know me better, and show them, like, are you truly wanting to react this way to a family member? Like, is this really how we treat each other? Like, that's not how we treat each other. And maybe I should say that exactly, like, that's not how we treat each other. But I'm 25 years old, and sometimes all I can do is look at them, because it's like, what you're saying is going directly against what is happening in this room. And like, you are like people pit each other against each other, and it's like, why are we doing that? Like, the way that we talk to each other matters. The stories we share matter, you know. The stories we share matter. And as 2026 enters our lives, I would like to change the stories that we share with one another, right? And that's another point to the podcast, because the stories that we've shared have changed. I used to not be a swimmer, and I thought I was never going to be a swimmer in my entire life, and 2025 happened. And I always knew 2025 would happen. What's crazy is in like a week, I think we have one more episode before my podcast for my friends, my interview posts. And we won't be in this room and we won't have this background. Maybe it'll be empty. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a blanket that I put up just for the podcast. But I'm excited to find out what changes. And yeah, I have been more excited lately and I have been able to get things done. But I also have been thanking natural medicine, and I can only say that, you know, if y'all know what I mean. Yeah, it's just like, and people people stress me out, you know, sometimes. My friends, I'm not talking about you, but also sometimes I am, you know, holy crap. I mean, we all annoy each other, but like, I'm talking very specifically here about friends that we lose, you know, and that we let go of, and sometimes community lets go of, and sometimes we don't, you know, and yeah, it just makes me think about how communities work, because it's like, why the stories we tell each other matter, you know, and it's like, why do stories change? Why do stories completely change? Makes you think. Anyway, maybe we'll get into that topic another day, but that's not a today topic. Right now, we're just talking, right? That's what's happening on the podcast these days. I'm getting back to just talking, and maybe I'm getting on tangents that are important, and maybe you guys will tell me, and maybe you guys won't, you know, and maybe the project will just continue. I'll be a part of history like we always are. Right now, also, I do want to mention another thing, like, even when I don't advertise, I'm getting to about like 30 to 60 views, which I think is impressive, because in the past, I had only gotten like 10 to 20 if I didn't advertise, and then I would advertise, and then it gets like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, you know, etc. And now I have some posts at like 400 views. Like my first episode is now at 400 views, which I think is amazing, because there's some people who are famous who have podcasts who have less views than I do on my first episode, the pilot episode, and also like, you know, in general, they probably do have way more views than I do, but like, it's just very interesting how this world works, you know? It makes you think, makes you wonder, makes you continue, makes you love, makes you live, laugh, love. Anyway, here we got this heart right there, right? Sobriety thoughts: nicotine, alcohol, weed, vapes, self-harm, etc. So yeah, that's what we're going into next. The changes. So this year we reached a year of sobriety from self-harm and weed vapes, which was really difficult, you know. A lot of people continue to use those items, and it's like we keep them in the shadows. We don't talk about it, we lie about it. And I always want to illuminate what's taboo, because I feel like, you know, my parents act as if the creation of me is a taboo fact in general. Like, they don't want to touch that, and that does stress me out, you know. And like, also, they are grateful to have this family, but it's like they don't want to talk about how we got here, you know. It's like there's taboos that are involved, and there's things that make people annoyed or angry, and then also make people happy at other times. And it's like, what perverted reasons do you have that makes you so, and like, you know, what are we funding? And yeah, sobriety thoughts, right? Like, I am, again, we're still a little bit of the gardener, but I am smoking less than I have ever in my life. And well, when I say ever in my life, I don't mean like when I was not smoking when I was a child. No, I mean like I'm 25 years old and I've been smoking for like 9 years, and I am smoking less than I've ever smoked in my entire life, you know. And I don't drink alcohol, and that's been a couple of years, like 2 years now. Yeah, a couple of years. And it's also been a couple of years for nicotine, and I was drinking and smoking for a long time. And you know, I do have like the idea of like quote unquote relapsing, but like having like one drink, but I don't think I will enjoy it, and I probably won't even drink the whole thing. I probably will have like a sip and be like, I know I don't want that, you know. And maybe I will drink a little bit, but I will be like, yeah, no, I'm still sober, you know, I'm still not drinking. It's been 2 years still. It may be a little relapse, but I am aware of what it is, and I know why it is what it is, you know, because I live with my family. That's a stressful situation. I'm 25, you know, I'm planning on moving out, but I don't have any independent finances, and my parents are going to pay for my rent, you know. And that is interesting. I do want that to change, and in 2026 that will change. It has to change because I have to pay my rent by the end of the year. I set to those boundaries because my parents are struggling as well, and I know this, you know, and it's not like I want to be it's not that I want to be living outside of the house, you know, I would love to not pay rent. It's not that I don't want a job, you know, I would love to have a job that makes me grateful, but I know that like that's not how it works, you know. But also it is, you know, people are able to make it work. They go to therapy, they do this, they do that, and that's just how our world works. But it feels so capitalistic to me. I'm like, I'm paying you for your time, and I don't feel good about that. Like, you have your own life, and it could be a mess, you know, a therapist. And that doesn't make me feel good. Like, are you going to therapy? But also, like, not all therapists go to therapy. Not all therapists have time to go to therapy. Like, you know, we're all marginalized for our own reasons, and it makes me struggle again because all, you know, healthcare workers should have a mental health provider in-house. You know, that would be nice, right? In 2026, we wish, we pray. Capitalism, let's change. Let's talk about this, right? Let's fight. And now we're getting to topics, you know, this is week 29. This is episode 29 of my podcast. And now we're getting to things that I've always wanted to talk about, you know, and now we're talking a lot. It's like there's a reason that I started a podcast because people told me to start a podcast. And you know me. If you know me, then you know me. And if you know, you know. And if you don't know, you don't know. And if you're knowing, then you're finding, you know. And as long as I'm here, the more that I'm here, the more you'll find out. And if you continue to be here, you know, then we will continue to talk about the C word. And if you even don't even hear me say the C word, in a previous episode, one of my episodes, I talk about the C word. You can see it in my questions in the description if you really want to find it. But yeah. Oh my God. I choked on my saliva. But if you want to find me talking about what this is, I mean, you don't even have to hear me, you know, you don't even have to see me in a previous episode talking about this. You can just hear me talking and know who I am and what I believe in and what I want to move towards. Like, I do believe in free water. I do believe in free housing, you know, not just because of the situation that I'm in, because of a lifetime of situations, you know, and I've been in great situations in the past, even with my circumstances, and people haven't even understood my circumstances. And and they didn't have to. They never had to. Sobriety thoughts, you know. Sobriety is making me think these things. And life is making me think these things. And it's like, yeah, I do want to continue to be sober. I do want to continue to foster these mindsets. And, you know, I continue to foster these mindsets even when I continue to drink kombucha or like a non-alcoholic beer or a hops water or whatever, you know, ranch water that has like 0 point whatever percent of alcohol. And, you know, if you have enough of those, then you can maybe feel a little tipsy. But there's like, I think I'm going to this city of New York, and I think I'm going to experience this museum that offers champagne for a ticket of 2. And I think I am going to drink, you know, and I haven't drank again in like 2+ years. And even when I was drinking back then, I stopped drinking as much, and I didn't realize like how hard it was to stop drinking. And also like, I do realize now how hard it was to stop drinking, and I'm not gonna like start drinking again. Like, I know all of these guilty thoughts, and it's not like I feel guilty now. Like, that's not what's like holding me back. Like, I could drink, you know, I could drink in certain moments, and I could plan for it too, you know. I could live a little easier on myself with alcohol, but I don't feel the need to do that, you know, because I'm already using my liver in other ways. And I was like, if I was drinking and smoking and doing other things, you know, and I was like overdoing it always. Same with nicotine, you know. I was smoking cigarettes, I was smoking nicotine, and like nicotine vapes, and yeah, sobriety thoughts, you know. Like, I do feel like I have been better in general, and I don't know if I'm just telling myself that, but like, I don't have the need to have a little hit of a vape, you know. I remember why I did that. Was like my first drug of choice or whatever, but I also don't feel a need to have a sip of alcohol when my friends are drinking. Like, I went to this cider fest with my friends, and none of them except one of them was spiked, the last one, and I was also a driver, and yeah, I was not minding. Like, if they wanted to drink, they could have drunk, you know. I would, again, have not minded. And so yeah, I also wanted to talk about, we only have like 5 minutes left, but I wanted to talk about a post-COVID world. because it's not really post, you know, like we're still living in it. We're living in the world of damages of COVID-19, long COVID. You know, I wore a mask on and off today at my sister's graduation. I probably should have worn a mask longer term, and I saw others wearing masks like me. I walked around the arena twice, Reed Arena in A&M, you know, in College Station, and both times I saw multiple people, some that I saw the first time, some that I saw both times, some that I saw only the second time, and I think I went like a halfway too, so I saw like more people at the end, you know, and I was just walking because I was anxious and I was overstimulated, but also I needed to be understimulated in an overstimulated way. That's just how it works for me. So I was journaling, not in this journal, another journal, and yeah, as I was looking at everyone, I was like, yeah, I do wish more people were wearing masks. And, you know, that also would cause a different world. And I do wonder how that affects us. And, you know, I also do want people to see my face. And I also do wonder how people think about me when I have a mask on, you know. And yeah, we have genetic expression, you know. I am disabled. I have these mental illnesses, and people sometimes understand me and they sometimes don't. And as I get older, I fight for more of my needs. I'm like, no, I do need to move out. I do need to pay for my rent. I do need this to happen. I do need this to happen. I want this to happen, and I want this to happen because I want this to happen. And right now this needs to happen, you know? And like, we have all these wants and we have all these needs, and then we have decisions and then we make them, you know? And I feel like my brain is such a soup right now, and it's more so a soup than it has been in the past. But I was like more aware of the fact that my brain was a soup in the past. And it's like, now that I'm less aware of the fact that my brain is a soup, it's like other people are hearing my brain being soup. And it's like, I didn't mean for this to happen, you know. I was aware of the soup, and now I'm aware of the soup in a larger context, and I apologize for that. But also, I don't think anyone would need me to apologize for that. But that's so strange, because also, like, I feel like, you know, so many of us miss so many apologies. Anyway, this is me talking about a post-COVID world, you know, because in a post-COVID world, we would be treating each other better. So many people we've lost, so many people we've found. What is this world? What are we doing? What am I doing? What are any of us doing? Being thorough. Okay, now we got 3 minutes left. Being thorough. What does being thorough even mean? Being thorough means getting stuff done. Does being thorough mean looking things over? Does being thorough mean being hard on ourselves? Does being thorough mean giving care? What does being thorough mean? Does being thorough mean looking at all sides of all those things over and over and over again? Does being thorough mean overthinking? Does being thorough mean underthinking? Does being thorough mean thinking? What does being thorough mean? And you know, I'm imagining this from a hyperbolized, dramatized, melodramatic way. You know, I'll call it what it is, because everyone thinks I'm melodramatic and I'm this and I'm that. And you know what? They can think whatever they want. They can. And I'm also gonna think whatever I want. And I think I need to be more excited, and I have been, you know, and I've been working on it, and that has been working. I also think sometimes you have to fake it till you make it, and I think that's just how I work, especially. And I've been faking a lot, and I've been making a lot, you know, existence-wise. And yeah, being thorough. Am I faking being thorough? I don't think so, you know, but I do think I've listened to other people way too much in my life, and that has stressed me out. It's like, I should do things the way that I do things best, but also I should do things, there's like a faster, a slower, a better, a worse, you know. You're just like reflecting on your thoughts. Everyone says, you know whatever in hindsight. Well, it's hindsight, and I don't be 2020, it be 2025. And that's just getting worse, because lower numbers are the better numbers for understanding visualization, you know, by using your eyes, by getting your eyes checked at an optometrist. Anyway, medicine. That's not what I wanted to talk about. Therapy. I just wrote medicine down, but I think I meant therapy, and that's like the last thing that we're going to talk about, I guess. And that's, you know, that is a good energy to talk about, because I should be excited about therapy. That's what I was going to talk about. I want to do like very short period therapy, like 4 weeks. I want to do it focused. I want to be like, oh, you are my therapist, and I want you to watch this, and I want you to watch that, and I want to do this for 4 weeks. And at the end of the 4 weeks, I want you to hear my goals. I want to meet these goals. I want you and I to meet these goals. And if we think we need more time, I want to take that more time. But right now, I just want you to listen to me. And I want you to diagnose me if you hear what I'm saying, if you're putting down what I'm pulling up. And Yeah. Yeah. That's where we are at. And yeah, maybe I'll get better at speaking about what I've learned if I get a chance to write it down. And I'm getting my chances and I'm writing things down and I got my podcast and I'm dressed and I'm here and we're showing up. And we're at 30 minutes. And it's 30 minutes on the clock. Kina. And I will have to see y'all next time, folks. You know what I'm gonna say. Please be ins, party people, and they mamas. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you're here, leave a like, comment, share with your friends, family, lovers, anyone you think who would enjoy this. Subscribe to my channel. Be your best self. Do more. Hug yourself. Hug each other. Hydrate. Just take care of yourself. Be easy on yourself. And then sometimes, maybe rest. But sometimes also maybe run. Take yourself on a walk. Maybe do some squats. Maybe do some arm exercises. Maybe do some core exercises. Maybe eat good, healthy, better every day. Less sugar. I don't know. Just do what's best for you. Brush your teeth, though, every day. I'm not a dentist, but I am going to tell you what to do with your teeth, which is give them to me. All right. Until next time.